President of the Calgary Leadership Forum.
One first.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Moderator, and my fellow candidates for being here, and I'd especially like to see such a large audience who are participating in this exercise for democracy, so thank you all. I'm going to talk a little bit about my background and then why I'm running. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and what I bring to the table. I grew up in Edmonton. My father was transferred to Ontario, so I ended up going to McMaster University where I got an honors BA. But I did that through the regular officer training plan. So the Army paid my way through, and after 4 years I was commissioned in the regular Army. I served my country in Camp Petawawa and also Camp Elkarchi, always with the Field Army. I was accepted for an MBA at the University of Western Ontario, so I left the Army. And then I also, when I was at the University of Western Ontario, I went to law school and I became a lawyer. I was fortunate enough to meet a fellow by the name of Bill Howard, who ran the law firm of Howard, Dixie, Mack and Forsyth here, and so he brought me here as a lawyer. But initially I've always been a soldier, and when I got here I went down and joined the Reserve Army and worked my way up to become the commander of the Calgary Highlanders, and then later to become the commander of all the Army Reserve in Alberta. So altogether I have 25 years of service to my country as a soldier. At the same time, in the Reserve Army, I was the oil executive for Ranger Oil. A lot of you may remember we were an international oil company. We were headquartered here in Calgary, and I was the vice president of legal. And during that time, I negotiated international oil and gas transactions in places such as Angola, Namibia, and also in Iraq. So I traveled extensively, and I have all that wealth of experience with the stock exchanges and the stock markets. So I said I've been a lawyer for 35 years now coming up. I'm still practicing. By background, I'm really a corporate securities lawyer, but at present I'm running a real estate lawyer, which is, in this market, has been quite good for me. Furthermore, I'm the chairman of the board of the Corps of Commissioners, and we have approximately 1,800 employees here in southern Alberta, and we're one of the largest not-for-profit organizations here. I'm on a leave of absence from that organization at present. Now, why am I running? I have to tell you that I've never run for office before, but when I started to see this sense of entitlement and the misuse of public funds, I said now is the time to stand up. We need people to stand up and stop this. And so that is the reason I'm running. I just thought that 43 years of PC empowerment, it's time for a change. And so that's what brought me to the table with Wild Rose. Now we have to say that the Calgary Elbow needs a representative. It hasn't had a representative for some time now. And I've been out door knocking a lot. I've pretty well covered half the constituency, and I certainly will cover it all before the election. We need someone to stand up and fight. We need to strengthen the opposition. We need a critic, especially on floods, schools, and healthcare. So what I want to do, if I'm elected, I want to hold the feet to the fire of the PC government. I want to talk about flood mitigation. I want to talk about flood mitigation. I want to talk about school fees. I want to talk about busing. I want to talk about senior care, and that's what I promise that I will do. So I look forward to hearing the policies that are coming up and listening to the debate and participating in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John Fitch-Wilders, candidate number 4, Stephanie McLean, New Democrats.
Thank you. I'm going to use this as an opportunity for you to get to know me a little bit better than most of you in the audience do. I want you to all know that I love Calgary. I was born here at the Holy Cross Hospital. I'm very proud of that. And this is my home. It is here that I've grown my family, I've educated myself, and where I choose to live and work. By trade, I am a criminal defense lawyer and family law lawyer. Shortly after I was inducted as a lawyer, and at the ripe age of 27, I opened my own business, and I operate as a sole practitioner. I'm also an employer. By way of my family background, I have one sister. She is an athlete with Special Olympics. She's a swimmer and a gold medalist. We were raised by one parent, my mother, and she went back to school at 50 years of age and became a registered nurse. I'm very proud of her. My father was a petroleum engineer here in Calgary, and before that, he actually began his career in the oil fields as a rig hand. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2008 after a long battle with cancer, and during that time, we truly experienced our crumbling healthcare system. My husband and I married in 2011, and we have two lovely little dogs, one Shakespeare and Monkey. I became a lawyer because I wanted to help people, and I think I do that. My clients sometimes tell me that I do. And I'm running as a candidate in this election for the same reason. I want to help people. But also because I'm frustrated in my career due to the crumbling legal aid system. People who are earning $1,300 a year on AISH are too wealthy to qualify for legal aid.
Shame.
We have a crumbling justice system, and I experienced that particularly in the realm of family law. I'm also frustrated and disappointed in the governance of our healthcare system, our education system, and generally our social welfare system. I've lived my entire life in Alberta. I've only ever known the PC government, and I have yet to experience the Alberta advantage. My family has yet to experience the Alberta advantage. I have experienced poverty growing up with a single mother. I understand the struggles of the physically and mentally handicapped in this province. I've seen the successful Calgary engineer be reduced to living in a hospital room with 5 other patients. I've borrowed, I've begged, I've worked my butt off through 2 degrees, and I have received and known, as most of you do, the benefits of our oil and gas industry in this province, and I truly understand the value of it. I have become a small business owner, and I've been successful at that. It's caused me to really understand the value of a hard day's work, the value of $1, and the drive it takes to be successful. Vote for me. I appreciate the response. I have the heart, I have the drive, I have what it takes to advocate for the residents of Calgary Elbow, and I can guarantee that I will be a strong advocate for you. People like me are looking for a progressive alternative, and a vote for the NDP is a progressive vote.
Hang on.
Thank you, candidate number 4, Stephanie McLean, New Democrats, and candidate number 5, Susan Wright, Liberal.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone. For coming today, and I'd like to thank my fellow candidates for being here and participating in the democratic process. So I'm a lawyer, again, there's 3 of us, with over 26 years of experience in the energy industry. I started as a litigator with Bennett Jones, and then I moved in-house with Unical and Nova Corporation and Alliance Pipelines. I've worked on projects in Asia, Europe, the United Kingdom, and the US. I've been an executive with the energy industry now for 18 years, and I know what makes our energy industry tick. I'm also a volunteer. I've volunteered all my life. I'm on the board of directors with the Calgary Heritage Initiative, which actually was instrumental in preserving the Alberta Park School. I've been judging law school moods now for more years than I can possibly remember, and I've been active with the Governor General's panel on women in the oil and gas industry. I'm a community activist. I like to jump in and help residents get through bureaucratic red tape. That's something lawyers do well. And I also write a blog called Susan on the Soapbox, which has received national legal recognition. Most importantly, though, I'm a wife and a mother, and I understand and have experienced firsthand the heartbreak that comes from having a healthcare system that is stretched beyond its needs and an education system that cannot possibly serve the needs of the students. And that's why I decided to take a break from my law school or my legal career and actually step into the political arena. Now, we all know that Alberta is the richest province in Canada, but what we can't figure out is why we have such lackluster results on the social equation side. And we seem to find ourselves in a situation where we have the highest high school dropout rates. Our emergency and surgery wait times are much too long. Our elderly and our frail are getting less than stellar treatment. Our environmental performance is hit and miss, with the result that our energy products are having difficulty getting to market. And while the new premier is busy eliminating things like planes and fancy new license plates, that's just window dressing. And the real issues that matter to the people of Calgary are the things I'm hearing on the doorstep. Healthcare. Dr. Paul Parks, the head of the ER medicine sector of Alberta Medical Association, said that our healthcare system is on the verge of collapse. He waved the red flag in 2010, and the PCs ignored him then, and the PC government is ignoring him again. In fact, when he tried to reach out to them, and to the unelected health minister and the elected premier, they said they were too busy to talk to him. Well, I'm not too busy to meet with healthcare professionals. I've talked to them, and the one thing I've heard loud and clear is that you've got to listen to the front line because they know where the problems are, and you also need to bring decision-making down to the more hospital-sized level. On the topic of education, the residents of Calgary are desperately worried that their children are being packed into schools like sardines, and they're not getting the attention they need for their special needs. The funding for education isn't just something you can just tie to inflation or dream up a hocus-pocus formula like the one created by our last MLA, Ms. Riding. We need a clear vision for education based on feedback from educators. And it's crystal clear to the people of Calgary that simply switching up the premier and putting in two unelected health ministers and unelected education ministers isn't going to change anything. Furthermore, the answer to our problems isn't, as some would have you believe, to simply privatize everything. Now, I'd like to talk about the flood. In 2013, we experienced a terrifically horrific tragedy and natural disaster. The BC government's solution to this flood was the classic case of too little, too late. And they promised to make flood victims whole, but the disaster relief program failed them completely. It's time for the government to keep its promise to pay out all the claims that are being requested by the recipients and to move forward with the provincial flood insurance program and also a comprehensive flood mitigation plan. One last point on transparency and accountability.